For a second time, is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board? For a third and final time, is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board? Seeing none, public session is closed at 6:03. Administration staff, Superintendent Keller.
Come up here. I'm coming up here. Like I said, I'm going to try to see if we can get a couple of actual brief updates. They're not going to formal survey, but one thing I did think was interesting. We didn't do any formal survey. We were asked to not make it look like we were pushing anybody direction. Clearly, we have a massive option of all. What I found interesting though, when I'm hearing is that for teachers taking the masks off and kids. The kids, it's about 50-50. I guess it's going to take a little bit of time. That just seems to be the general consensus of what I saw. I want you to be prepared for the next meeting. We're going to have about 2 people here. Talk about having more.
The batteries.
Oh,
IT folks.
it's all right. So next week our IT people will be here. We're going to talk about all of the equipment that we ordered, what's currently been delivered. It's not most of the orders are here. A lot of things that we ordered. The meeting is being streamed, and we had to take notes.
We have to save this though for like some digital.
We would have the, be a little bit difficult to hear.
Yeah, because it's really hard to hear the YouTube, so.
But,
Have
but we do have a record of the meeting.
You know, is there on off switch on that microphone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
The big one. Okay. You can refer to me. This is up. All right.
We'll have a record. And by the way, this microphone is not on. So again, we're going to talk about all of the equipment that was ordered, what's been delivered, what we're still waiting for. We'll talk about our infrastructure as well and where we sit. Some of you may have heard, I know those of you that have been on board, we'll talk about E-rate and the kinds of things that those, what we can pay for with that, and how it drastically reduces our costs. And also, something that I'm just learning about, I got a message from the city last week or a couple of weeks ago, and I've since met with Business Network Group, which includes Jeff Tagliatella, Jeff Grandy, who you've seen before, Michael Grandy. Those are the main people, plus they also have technicians that are available to us. They do a really good job, especially during testing weeks and those kinds of things. They give us extra personnel. We can talk about their services as well. But one thing that I'm learning a lot about is cyber insurance, which my understanding is really going through the roof. That's, you have to be careful of emails being taken away and passwords and things like that. And most of now what we're going to be getting, which again is going to take a little bit of education on the part of our employees, verifications to get into to access sites. So again, I'm just learning about it. One other thing that's really very interesting is that for those of you that don't know, again, I don't know how this is going to work yet, but I'm sure we're going to have to meet a lot with the city and determine this. Is right now the Board of Ed does not carry insurance. For those of you that don't know that, our insurance goes to the city of West Haven. So if we have an accident, for example, we get the report, we turn it over to the Corporation Counsel's office. If we get sued, they assign it to an attorney or they handle it in-house. But that's going to take some working through. And my understanding is that the prices are going extremely high. So I'm sure we're going to have to work something out with the city. I don't know enough about it to explain it to you, but we'll all hear a lot about that and be educated about it. And again, it's not just the Board of Ed, but we have quite, as you can imagine, with the majority of the buildings, with everybody having their own personal device, with what we have available in labs and in media centers, I'm sure there's going to be an expense, but I couldn't even begin to give you a number today. I want you to be aware of that. And again, they'll answer any other questions. They were very involved with the, they really did a terrific job keeping us secure throughout the years. We've also, they were very involved with the high school building projects. It didn't make sense, for example, to have one group working on the high school while they were managing. So we're actually able to go to DAS and get some bid waivers and sole proprietor verifications that will allow them to work on the projects. They're very familiar with and not only what's going on throughout the district, but what actually happened here during the course of the building projects. It's been quite a while since we've had them, and I think it's again, given what we've purchased over the last couple of years, how our infrastructure needed to improve because we went from, especially in an elementary school, maybe 2 or 3 computer labs at the most, everybody having an individual device. There's quite a bit of work involved, and they'll talk to you about that and answer all the questions. That was part today. As Ken mentioned too, and alluded to, we did have a meeting today with Scott Jackson, the mayor, and finance. Scott Jackson is the new finance director, about capital projects, long-term plans, our budget in general. I think one of the things that I wanted to walk away having said is that in my opinion, they need to really ramp up the number of personnel in the finance office, but don't leave the Board of Ed out on their own. In other words, consider us as a department, since, again, I don't know how familiar you guys are, but everything we do when we make a purchase or when someone gets paid has to go through the finance office on the 3rd floor. So some of the things, somebody doesn't get paid or something, sometimes it's on us. A lot of times we have to work with the city to make sure that things are getting paid. So, I extended a hand and said, look, we really want to work with you with what you need and, what I see some of the deficiencies are, and I'm sure Matt as well. But I know one of the priorities is to staff that office properly to make sure that whatever technology they need is in use. But again, you can't treat the Board of Ed like we're a separate entity. First of all, obviously the biggest department in the city. And we would like to say in how you're set up, and again, we'll work with you very closely. Today, two items that are on the agenda today. One is the school calendar. Again, for those of you that aren't aware, what normally happens is we get usually around November, December, we get a sample calendar from ACES. ACES is a regional provider. A lot of services to them. They have special ed classes in schools, and we purchase a lot of equipment with them. We do a lot of transportation, but they're in charge of giving us a sample calendar. And then I think there are 16 districts involved with ACES. And every district, they're pretty similar, but every district has its own nuances. And some, for example, West Haven still has the 2 holidays. Guilford, for example, has the Guilford Fair. So, there's different days off. Some districts still have the full week in February, where most districts have gone to the 2 weeks. So what happens is Tammy Tammy, she works in the office on setting the calendar, making sure we have the right number of school days for kids, the right number of days for employees. We share the calendar with all of our bargaining groups, the two most important being the teachers who approve the calendars, also our non-certified workers. The reason being is that they work like, it's an odd number of days per year, maybe it's 240 or 237. So it doesn't, what they end up with are floating holidays, which they decide to take so that we fall within the contract guidelines for how many days. Once we get them back, Tim finalizes it. The board is in charge of approving the final calendar. I don't think we've ever made any adjustments once we've come to you, although as some districts have with COVID and whatnot, we haven't had to make up any special days or even talk about, taking a vacation away, which if I'm not mistaken, there is language in the teacher contract which says this is where you would take it away from if we had to make it up. Again, for those of you that don't know, we are required to do 180 school days, but we have to complete them prior to July 1st. There are some exceptions, and you can always ask for a waiver. You may have seen in the news recently that some districts have asked for waivers because they've taken some. We haven't been in that predicament thus far, and we're well within. I think even with the 4 snow days, we're out. I think it's June 14th. So, in fact, one thing that Dana has been pushing me on, but I did want to get. You can set a graduation date prior to the 180th day. However, my reluctance always to do that at West Haven High School is if I set the date too early and there are a few more snow days, everybody kind of seems to stop going to school after graduation. So we want to keep them there, keep the kids there as long as possible. We'll do that. We'll set the graduation date. I'll probably give it a couple more weeks and then we'll do it by then. Also, the other agenda item you have is the Healthy Food Service Initiative. And I heard you guys talking about it. Meg Kingston is here. Meg is our food service director. She is an employee of Sodexo, who manages our food service contract. The employees work for us, and for those of you that don't know. But every year we are required, because there's some reimbursement involved, to adopt the Healthy Food Service Initiative. Kathy, you know the routine, I know you mentioned you have to read it specifically. But then we make an exception. There's a part 2 where you make an exception.
The
So
cheese fry exception.
What's that?
The cheese fries.
Cheese fries, French fries, soda. So we can operate the concession stands, and the PTAs can do activities and other kinds of things that we do on the weekends and whatnot. So Meg will be here to answer any questions you have on that. And finally, Judy has been working very closely with Melanie Denninger, who's here tonight. Melanie is our new person in charge of early childhood education. One of their priorities this year was to kind of look at how we do kindergarten registration and make it more user-friendly and meaningful for families that come into the school district, especially those for the first time. Judy's also working on this, which again, long overdue, central registration, which we'll talk about at another meeting. Again, we're trying to make registration as convenient as possible. Some of you may have seen the article in the paper about a week ago regarding bridges and the school health-based center and how we're trying to make that available and get kids physicals so we can get them in on time. It's really been a tremendous success, and we're hoping to continue to expand those services for our families. We're hoping, like, for example, we may be able to, when we do Westies on Wheels in the summer, where we hand out school supplies, it's done through the high school. We can, if we can't get them a physical that day, we can get them signed up in a place where they can go. So those are some of the things we're working on. I don't have anything else tonight. I'm ready to turn it over to Judy unless you guys have, unless any here has any questions.
Okay, Neil, just about said what I wanted to say about registration, but that's okay. Anyways,
It's just an
Give her a
introduction.
thunder back.
anyways,
Good job. Come on.
Here you go.
Hype man.
Melanie did start this year and, for the preschool and the readiness program, and she's done a phenomenal job. Registration, and I was preschool supervisor several years ago, and I always wanted the registration inside the elementary buildings, because I thought it would be more personable. The kids could see the building they're gonna go to, they meet the staff, and it's just good for the principals to get to know, and the teachers, the incoming class that's coming in. So what we did was, we started talking about it back a couple months ago, and she ran and really taken off with this. So she's arranged it for, she'll give you the dates if you want to go visit and see what the registration process is like. It is a little involved. We like to get to know our kids. We have several stations, which she will show you. But it does give the children, the parents, and the teachers the time to, get to know each other and just have a real positive start in the school system. We do an orientation too, which that will be in May, and she's working on that one too. So it's a good introduction. And also, yes, I am working on central registration. I do want it up at the Board of Ed. It's in process right now, for many reasons. For a parent to go to multiple schools to register their kids is pretty difficult. That's one of the main reasons. So they have one-stop shopping there. They come up and we will, share with you when that comes about. So right now, I'd like to have Melanie do her presentation on kindergarten registration.
Take it off.
So as Judy said, we've been working really hard to get registration back into the home schools for families and students. We truly believe that this is the best way to kind of recreate these connections that we potentially lost over the past couple of years. So having our families come in so that they meet the teachers, they meet the principals, they meet all of the staff that are there. I've been working with each individual principal to set up something so that their staff can come in and meet the families and answer any questions they might have. And they also, some of the principals are putting together school-specific information for their families. So as Judy said, we're starting to learn about our students' needs. They'll be given a hearing and vision screening. This will kind of help us with any auditory or visual needs that they have. We're also going to give them a pre-loss assessment. Now, this is a pre-literacy assessment, and it will give us kind of a little dipstick in terms of their current skills. This will help the teachers plan far ahead of time for their classes and what their students' needs are. And for our families, I'm talking with all the parties involved in registration, and there's some significant need. They don't necessarily have the computer literacy that they need, so we'll have people there with computers to help them through that process and that registration process. We'll have nursing staff to aid them for the requirements for physicals and kind of go through that with parents. The hope is to get some partnerships so that we can give parents an outlet of where they can get a physical, because in order to start school, they have to have that physical in there. We'll have our EL tutors and teachers there to do translations. Students will be given backpacks with school supplies and flashcards, things to help their parents over the summer to kind of get them ready for kindergarten. And then we will have our community resources, the Jane Vitale with the Family Resource Center, and our school readiness partnerships will also be there to distribute that. So this is our flyer. It's kind of a condensed version. It is currently on our website. We have it in English and Spanish. Copies of this will be going out to our students in our elementary schools. I've asked principals to put it in their newsletters. Some principals even did a school messenger, trying to promote as much as possible to get as many families in during this time. We would also love to have you at any one of our dates here. All of our buildings have a specific date So we start with McCrill on the 21st, the 22nd will be Seth Haley, the 23rd Peebles, the 24th Seven Rock, the following week, the 28th will be Washington Elementary School, and then ending Tuesday, March 29th with Forest. I'm also working, well, Dana did me a favor. She has created a video, a little tutorial for POWERS registration because it is a complicated process. So she's created a tutorial for me. She's also going to do it in Spanish, because it's just that good, that we can put up on our website so that it should help families kind of navigate this. Anybody have any questions about kindergarten registration?
These two I think that's not good. I definitely, I think I still have my little Seth Haley Apple magnet on my refrigerator from when I registered Megan for kindergarten at Seth Haley. It held up very well. And all the phone numbers like absent line and lunch line and all that on the little magnet. It's still in my fridge.
I will say this is my first year doing kindergarten registration, but you know, everyone is so thrilled about having it back in the buildings. All the principals, all the staff are so excited to meet the kids. Far before the first day of school, you know, it gives everyone an opportunity to kind of make that connection to their building. So I think everyone's really excited about that.
Did Mike put that flyer up on our as well? Okay, great.
Yes, so he should be putting it on Facebook, our Twitter page, all of that stuff. I asked him to do that.
You're safe. You walk away from it now. It's not your response.
So the new stuff going on for us is SAT Day for juniors is on March 25th. Juniors Ayana Obach and Reggie Austin were recognized as rotation squad characters event. Senior Robert Flex won the essay portion of the National Society of the Daughters of American Revolution Gibson program. He will be representing the state of Connecticut at the New England Regionals. Girls hockey players Megan Dupre and Maya Bolton were named the All-CC first team, and Grace Hilda was named the All-CC second team. Also, congratulations to Aaron Blake on being named as the SCC Coach of the Year, presented by CT Orthopedics. Congratulations to Tanisha Hidalgo for medaling in both of her track events, 52 hurdles and 300 meters at the SCC Championship. Unfortunately, an injury prevented Tanisha from further in the tournament.
Good evening, everybody. And there's some more news going on. Juniors, Amani Amugato and Cassidy Corrado were named first team All SCC for the 2022 girls basketball season. Amani Amugato was also the SCC Player of the Year and scored her 1,000th point during her last game of the season, which is amazing. Also, Jessica Moriarty was named the SCC Coach of the Year, and this was presented by CT Orthopedics. Congratulations to DJ Carpora on being named the All SCC First Team, and Rai Bernardi and Anthony Peschel on being named to the All SCC Second Team. Also, counselors and department heads went to Bailey today to discuss courses. The peer advocate group will be going over to Bailey on March 21st and 22nd all day during the school day to help them pick their freshman year courses. The third and fifth grade students are going to see the play You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown sometime later in March. And the peer department is working hard on that. And lastly, the 8th grade tours will be on June 13th and 14th. You guys have any questions for us?
Thank you, class. I think the play is the 25th, 26th, 27th. Like, we're 25th, 26th. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
We're really excited to be able to get the elementary kids to
Yeah, that'll be, I don't know, we've done that in the past, and they love it.
Bailey plays going somewhere also.
The Bailey
They're
play, I believe is going to be at the high school.
Yes. And the elementary school play, the elementary classes are coming here on the 22nd, I believe.
Great job, thank you, girls.
4, I'm gonna start them.
Yeah.
I guess I just would ask again, if we are going to address the 19.4 the ESSER grant, ERP money. I know when we went over the city budget, that area was listed on there separately. There's a comment that it hasn't been allocated yet, but I just hoping that we can get some clarity on that. There is this really great, which I'm sure Neil and that there's a really great resource on the authorized uses of the funds and some ideas, and there's a lot of things with mental health and green options to get just that collaboration between learning and the environment, and just kind of some of the things that we talked about in the curriculum committee meeting, was just integrating different ideas. So there's just some really great ideas, and as I was looking through the guidance, I found it inspiring, and I just, I'm curious if and when we're going to use that money, how we're going to use it, what the plan is for that. That's a lot of ideas, and I'm sure.
That career was actually submitted when, back in June.
And now it's submitted in August. It's finally approved last week. I put together a presentation for you. Everything we're using the money for isn't allowed to be spent. We did the packet. We're using the money in the myriad ways: salaries, instructional. So I'll put a comprehensive report.
And is anything going on, Ukraine, with supplies or items?
So I don't think we did the supplier item drive. They are doing presentations on it in the mission government class, but if we talk to our student government, I'm sure they'd be happy.
They're about to continue. And so I want to thank you for that. I know it wasn't easy. I want to thank the teachers. Also for that, because I know it was easy to teach half a day, and teach it for both. Okay, I just want you to know that the CNC machine has arrived, and it was supposed to be programmed, and I haven't heard yet, but a few years ago, I wanted to get the CNC machine to the workshop, because the CNC machine is high school, they have $60,000 a year, and how to work it. It's a that you put program in what you want to do. So the reason I know about it is I can't have the space for it. It's this big tool that was for urban gardening. And I showed it to Meg, and I brought it to Danny Shine at the time. I brought it to Eric Rice, I brought it to a bunch of people. On board, they wanted to do this. And finally, after starts, ordered it. And it was supposed to be programmed. I don't know if it was programmed. It's coming not from you guys, Jeff. I think it was coming from the company. So once it's in, if you look at this thing, start into the with all these, it's just a world of. So Meg said she would love it for her school. We thought maybe the
throw it together. Great project for the kids if they want to put it together, build it. Which sounds kind of exciting to buy.
But I'm happy that it's good to put this in person. But, we'll do that. But, I'm happy that that's there. I'm excited that that's going to be able to learn and make a good place.
Meg and I had actually talked about putting in learning on that side as part of their that area. Is that something that's for that project as well?
I don't think so, because it actually goes kind of curves up and at the inside of it, I don't think it would be, it definitely wouldn't be accessible to wheelchairs.
I think it offers two educational opportunities as well, right? First, the kids that are gonna actually work with the machine and create this in the wood shop. And then the kids who are going to utilize it to the growing side of things, so. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just happy.
Mrs. Kenny?
Nothing, just congrats to all of us. I was at this evening for girls. Super, super proud of the sportsmanship that they showed. I was very proud.
I also wanted to say congratulations to all those spectacular achievements with the essays and the sports and our fabulous coaches, which I think are, that might have been more than the first time, definitely for Coach Blake and I think for also the girls basketball coaches, more than her first time getting the SEC coaching as well. So congratulations to all of them. I also want to commend our staff at the rate for the quick and expeditious handling of the unfortunate event that occurred for our students. That was all over the news. I think they did a fabulous job. I think our kids were spectacular in their behavior in not responding to that situation. So I know your girls were there, so make sure you share this with them because I was super proud that they did not. Yes, they did exactly what they should have done, and I'm so proud of that. So I just want you guys to make sure you pass that along because I think that eliminated any terrible situation that could have been made much worse than it already was. And I hope the young lady who had altercation with that woman is doing okay. I was also at the game, thankfully, left before that. I may not have. So I was glad that I didn't have to defend our honor of our students, but I certainly would have. Thanks, I know Mrs. Kenny was there and tried to get everything. So I also saw that spectacular crime lab clip on the news the other night, which I thought was amazing. It made me want to go take the class with handprints and all that stuff all over. So that was also amazing. So I said a lot of good things going on in our schools, and I couldn't be happier with how things are going. All that. So congratulations to all of those amazing students and teachers. We will move on to D1 approval of minutes. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm hoping that we can do them all inclusive. There's a minutes and amendments. So it's D1, the amendment for the January 18th minutes, and then D1B, the minutes from the special meeting at Bailey. And then D1C, the minutes from the regular board meeting at Bailey, both on February 7th, and then D1D, the Board of Education special meeting on February 23rd. If I could get a motion to approve those 4 sets of minutes. Motion by Patrick, second by Kim Kenny. Any discussion?
The ones for the January 18th are still in press. So under the in favor,
Where was the?
for the January 18th, under the in favor, Robert Guthrie and myself are still listed, and then we're also listed on those. So It's sort of been corrected, but it's. For the January.
Yep. All right, so we will, I'm gonna amend the motion to, D1B, D1C, and D1D. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay. Any discussion about D1, B, C, and D? All in favor? Any opposed? Any extensions? Okay, so Anne is abstaining. Then, if we could get those, January 18th minutes corrected for the next meeting, then we will.
You don't have to read that, make, just, again, the way I understand it, make the corrections now, you're adopting.
So you don't have to-
With those.
Okay. All right, perfect.
We'll get you a copy of it, but you don't have to bring it back.
Excellent. D2 resignations, D2 2204, Marlisa Roach, and D2 22-05, Forrest Bonjo. Entertain a motion to accept those resignations. Zero, second. And, any discussion? And thank them very much for their.
Not just, you know, Bonzo is not retiring. Yes, he's with us now. What if you retire? What's his resignation?
Thank them very much for their service to students in our city. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. New business. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the 2022-2023 school calendar under D4 22-06. First by Pat, second by Kim. Any discussion? All in favor?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding Neil correctly. He said that the graduation date was not listed on this yet.
No, I'm sorry. What happens is you can designate a graduation date. I'm talking about for this calendar year because of the snow days. I didn't want to set it there because I want to keep it as close as I can to the end of the year. So I was using that as an example.
Yeah,
The
this is
last
for
day, right
next
now,
year.
is the last day of school for next year's calendar is the graduation. That, again, that would be subject to change.
Any other questions about the school calendar? All in favor? Any opposed? Any extensions? All right, now we're gonna have to bear with me for a minute. So I'm gonna read the healthy food certification, 22-07, ED-099, Connecticut State Department of Education Agreement for Child Nutrition Programs, Healthy Food Certification Statement. Pursuant to CGS Section 10-2215F, the Board of Education or governing authority certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the school under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups. I will entertain a motion to approve. So Ann, first by Ann, seconded by Patrick. Any discussion?
I don't know if you want Meg to come up just to explain what the district actually received.
Sure.
That.
I think this is a point.
I think she made the motion.
Yeah, I did.
Before you vote.
Yeah, I made the motion, now we're in discussion.
The motion's on the floor now. So
Right, but once the discussion is open for us, it's for us, not for anybody else.
No, I think Meg's up here to answer any questions that we have about the motion. So it's not a presentation by Meg, it's just if we have any questions that she can answer.
I just wanted to make sure you guys understood why you have, what's the benefit of adopting it other than serving health.
So the benefit is that for each reimbursable meal, if we ensure that we're serving only the things that are on the state approved list, they give the district 7 cents per meal. It was 6 cents, then went up to 7 cents. The list that they give us, they call it healthy certification. Honestly, I don't think the products are all that healthy. We can give them reduced fat Doritos. We can give them, if you go and look in that vending machine, they're not necessarily healthy items in my idea, but they have a certain parameters that they use. They have so much fat, they have so much, so many grams of sodium, but they go through this whole litany, and then I look in the vending machines, I'm like, it doesn't look healthy, but they'll give us 7 cents a meal, and the kids will eat the stuff that is the Doritos with no fat and all that. They do eat the product, so they don't, it's not like they even notice it any longer. We've been doing it for so many years, I think it's kind of.
We used
It's
to have
not
the
your
arguments for it. EPA, they first questioned it, but I think we finally got them to kind of understand it's the amount, it's the amount of fat, serving size, it's meant to be all the way into it, it's how they get on the list.
So, and even in the culinary department here, you can't sell the products to the students, but they can give the products to the students. It's the sale of the products during the school day, which they consider 30 minutes before school and 30 minutes after school. So it's, but it is a good benefit to the district because we get, it's roughly $5,000 a month that we get for healthy certification. And right now we're running on the seamless summer program, so there is none, but it will come back for sure.
Just explain that.
So the seamless summer program, because of COVID, they started a program where you can serve any child under the age of 18 for free. And for us, it doesn't sound like it's any different than our normal program because we are on the community eligibility program, which means that every child is free anyway. However, on the seamless summer program, the reimbursement is at a higher rate. So that's the benefit of running on the seamless summer program. And we're now feeding Hope Academy, and St. Lawrence is also getting free meals during this seamless summer program. So it's definitely a benefit. Questions? Thank you.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. And then 22-808, approval of the Connecticut State Department of Education Child Nutrition Program, EB-099, Healthy Food Certification Statement. Consideration 2, exemption for food items. The Board of Education or governing authority will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. The event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice meeting or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events. The soccer practice, play, rehearsal, and the 18 meetings are. Regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food sales. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Second. First by Kim, second by Jen. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. The rest of the agenda is informational. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion. At 6:46, the Board of Education